welcome to another episode of Bro Date. I'm Jarrell. This is Keith. Today we're going to talk about Season 6 Walking Dead Episode 2 and 3.
Yeah. Intense 2 episodes. Like, super intense. Episode 2, I watched the whole thing like this on the edge of the couch with my face like 3 feet away from the TV. We might as well tell what happens because I don't know how we're going to talk about it without doing that. If you haven't watched them yet, turn it off just like every other episode we ever do. Where do you want to start? You start with the wolves and then go from there? Because we might get sidetracked too much if we don't.
So a lot happened.
Yeah.
I'm obviously in shock. So there's a big question of what's happening with Glenn. Now, obviously, in the episode, it shows us that Glenn can easily be presumed dead.
It's true.
Having a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Because Glenn, I feel like me and Glenn have this deep connection because he's one of the big reasons like I got hooked to this whole series. Well, if you remember, like when I was getting started watching this, well, how I got started, I was on vacation from work. I called you or texted you or whatever. I'm like, look, I got nothing to do. I need something to pass my time. You're like, oh, you might like Walking Dead. So I'm like, all right, I check this out. I watched the first episode, and at the end of the first episode, on comes this voice in a speaker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, who is this on this voice? I gotta know who this is. I gotta know who this is. So right away, I go to episode 2 and I'm introduced to Glenn. And now Glenn is possibly gone. So we've already, that's the big topic. That is the huge thing that is consuming this world as we know it today. A lot of theories.
So, I don't think he's dead. I am not convinced, and almost, I think every kill that they do in the show is pretty convincing. Like, you pretty much know the person is gone for sure. This one actually has some doubt in it from the way that they shot it. So that alone just leads me to believe that he's going to find some way out of his predicament.
Yeah.
But it's quite a predicament.
So while we discuss this, I will try to play the devil's advocate a little bit from your point of view.
Okay.
However, it might be troubling for me because I also think he is still alive. I'm not buying that he's dead right now. Or at least a walker or whatever.
So there's 2 ways you can look at it. Glenn has been the character who's always seen the better in people. He's the one who kind of like held the faith for the humanity in the group. He's with this whole situation with Nicholas, who already tried to kill him in the woods. He's basically bet on Nicholas. He's like, listen, you can change. People have changed. Like, you can be a better version of a person in this world. So, having Nicholas kill him stays true to who Glenn is, even though he sees the good in this person. Maybe it was to a fault and got himself killed. On the other hand, that's not really the way everybody wants to see Glenn go out.
Well, that's a whole nother thing too. Like, all the main characters or all the characters who we have seen frequently, when they die, they go out like gracefully or anything like that, but they go out in a way in a
more significant.
They're paid more honor.
Yeah.
And if this is the way for Glenn to go out, which is fine, I can accept that if that's the way he's going out, but there's not there's not much going on beyond, like, after that, like, with Beth dying, with Tyrese dying, with, there's another main character that I'm thinking of that I'm trying to track back to. Daryl dying.
Not Daryl.
Or not Daryl, sorry. Not Herschel. Merle. Merle dying.
Oh, yeah, Merle was a good one.
Now, with, like, so, for example, on Talking Dead, they would have the cast talking about losing this person. They would have that, whoever that person was that died, they would have on the show of Talking Dead.
They would put them in the memorial.
The way that they died was just, well, it was just different for me. It was just different. Like, we've never had anybody's death been this much in question, except for, what, Laura?
Oh, Lori?
Lori.
When, yeah. I
We
mean,
kind of had her in question.
a little, but not anywhere near this.
Not anywhere like this. Not anywhere like this.
This
And
is
this is something that Walking Dead has never done either. So
this is a very Jon Snow thing for them to do.
Yes,
because I mean, it could be a while before we even find out what the real deal is here.
Oh, I definitely think it's going to be a while. I think it's obviously not going to be next episode because that seems to be tailored towards Morgan. I think.
I mean, they could drag it out until the second half of the season, which will be what, like February.
The one thing that we do know is that Walking Dead loves to play this waiting game.
Yeah.
With a lot of people. So I think we will see Glenn again. Well, we know, all of us know that we're going to see, because Scott Gimple guaranteed us that we're going to see
in a version.
In a version.
He said maybe as a walker, maybe furthering his story, maybe a flashback, maybe in pieces. But I don't buy that either.
I think we will see Glenn again.
Buying time.
In this series, not necessarily the first 8 episodes of this season.
Yeah, I think
but we will see him again in this season. I think we'll see him as a human being.
Unlike the first episode back.
You never know. But we will see.
I think you're right. I think they might drag it out until then, though.
It would not shock me if, come season 6, episode 8, all of a sudden we get this shot back to that, like, scene.
Yeah.
Maybe not even seeing Glenn or anything, but back to that scene.
And then they take the camera and it just zooms down underneath the dumpster and Glenn's hiding, like, hey.
So underneath the dumpster. So this is a theory that's been popping up.
Yeah.
That somehow Glenn, I guess, crawls or something underneath
let's address
this dumpster.
Let's address the very obvious thing.
Which is?
Nicholas falls on Glenn.
Yes.
We picked this apart.
Just a little bit.
We put it in slow motion. We examined the angles. As they are falling, Glenn basically bear hugs him, and they fall together, and Nicholas is starting to go at an angle. So he would be at an angle pretty much over his chest.
Yeah.
Where his stomach would be. So
he's definitely overlapping him. He's definitely covering him on top.
Like, there's no doubt about that in my mind.
So then they fall down, and then you get the bird's eye view of what's going on. Obviously, it's at a big distance. But while they're down there, the camera view is down there, and you got the close-up. One thing that we notice is that the zombies are ripping at him, at something, at either Nicholas or Glenn. We don't know. We can't tell.
Yeah, so
they're grabbing guts and they're eating.
Instead of leaning down and biting into Glenn or Nicholas, whoever.
Yeah,
so the other thing that lends to that theory is Glenn does not use his arms at all. So they're probably pinned down by Nicholas. And
we don't see Glenn's arms.
No. Right? So I mean, if I was getting eaten alive, I would probably try to push a zombie off me.
Absolutely.
Or something. I wouldn't just lay there and look at it. But,
and you don't see any of the zombies go for his face or anything like that.
Yeah,
like with Noah. If you remember now, obviously, yeah, he was pressed against the glass, but you remember, like, he had somebody in his mouth, ripping him up. This was different.
Yeah. So, I don't think there's anything that shows that Glenn is the one being eaten at this point.
Right.
We just know someone's being eaten.
Right.
In the first shot of the whole thing, it does look like there is something on Glenn's chest. It doesn't look like it's part of his body when they start to rip it apart. So I think it's another body.
Well, I think that's safe to say it's Nicholas.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously he was.
Some people just don't want to even accept that. They're like, no, Glenn's dead.
Well, but realistically.
They're like, no, you can't get out of that.
Come on now.
Tyrese got out of it.
Very true.
Tyrese came out of one of those.
Tyrese was similar. That was actually something that I mentioned on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
Tyrese did get out of a crazy environment like that. I don't think it was as bad, though.
Maybe not. I think the other thing that's inherent with Glenn's character, though, is he has been the one since the start who's, like, been shifty survivor.
In tight corners.
Who can kind of get out of stuff, you know? So
this one's a hard one to get out. This one's a hard.
Maybe he doesn't need to get out. Maybe he just needs to get under.
Now,
or get on the side of, which is the other thing we saw were like some cement barriers surrounding
that garbage can,
the dumpster. Yeah, which I didn't notice until we went way back. Right when they went down the alley.
It took us a while.
And then we checked out the bird's eye view, and there's definitely some space around. So while it's a long shot, there's places that he can maybe squirm to.
Well, speaking of long shot, he still has the flare gun.
Yeah.
Which could be to an advantage in this specific situation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that might be, I don't know, some trick of trade to try and help him. But, I mean, ultimately, yes, I do think absolutely realistically of just what are the honest odds of someone surviving anything even close to that? It's so bare to minimum, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But I do think I don't know, they're going to come up with some creative story to figure out how he got through this. Now, right now, Glenn is I assume, covered in this blood.
So there's another theory.
Covered in this blood, and well, he's surrounded by zombies, so I would think by now he's got that same stench of zombies, which we can relate back to season 1.
So this is another theory that's been out there, which covers zombies and what they smell, and there's the debate between human blood and zombie blood. Because he's got Nicholas's blood on him from the start. When Nicholas shoots himself, it splatters all over his face. So, if it was a thing where any blood would kind of mask your scent, then yeah, that makes sense, I guess. But at this point, it's not completely zombie stuff. It's mostly Nicholas being torn apart on top of him. I'm not sure that's the best. But
look at this also. He's surrounded by walkers right now.
Yeah.
A huge crowd of walkers. And with them completely ripping him apart with all this blood and all this gushing out and whatnot, obviously he can't help but absorb whatever odors are around him and whatnot, not to mention a dumpster.
Yeah.
Now,
there's a trash bag like right next to his head.
Back to when we were first getting introduced to Michonne. And after she left Woodbury, she's walking to the prison, and I think it's Rick who sees this person at the fence, just standing there out there with the zombies. That was Michonne, and none of the zombies were approaching her. Just a theory. Just a theory.
Another theory, there are many of them.
There are many.
Is that Nicholas might be hallucinating the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
I don't think that's it either.
You can throw that out
the window. I don't even.
You can throw that out the window right along with the whole Rick Grimes is still asleep in a coma.
Yeah, no.
You can just get that out of here.
The other.
Now, I've stayed away from all the media in reference to all these crazy theories and whatnot, and on all the stuff.
I got at least 2 more.
Oh my gosh, all the stuff that I've pretty much discussed so far, I've gotten from you, other friends, and just thought up on my own, I guess.
So, what do you think about Jesus to the rescue?
See, if you don't know who Jesus is, I mean, the comic books will tell you.
And I mean, you'll find out this season at some point.
You will find out.
He's coming.
I think he's coming. But this,
He's
I don't think he could help in this. How can one man help in this particular situation? This is just.
I mean, it would
crazy.
be some sort of distraction.
Some sort
somewhere.
of distraction.
It would be a distraction somewhere.
Man.
Or something to draw them away. Like they said on Talking Dead yesterday, if a horn can draw all those walkers somewhere, maybe a horn can do the same thing in the opposite direction. I mean, I don't know what it would be. It could be a lot of things. Just pick something, an explosion, another horn,
it's gonna have
music in a semi truck. I don't know, but something could draw them away at this point, and it could be caused by our buddy Jesus.
Maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that being the case.
What about?
Well, here's the other thing: is people who live around there. I mean, you were just down there, but people who live around there said that they have seen him on set filming scenes with Jesus.
Well,
I mean, I don't know how much to read into that, but
I mean, well, hey, who knows? So, I hope he's still around. I really do.
We got one more.
Look, these 3 episodes. 3. It's only been 3
You still haven't even talked about the last one.
3 episodes. It's been very intense.
Yeah, craziest season ever.
It's been crazy intense
and like stressful.
I am really starting to appreciate. I'm really starting to appreciate the slow seasons. I really am.
I like this one, but it's giving me a heart attack.
It's killing me.
So we got, let's see, at least 2 other things to cover. Let's backtrack a little bit. We'll give Glenn a rest for now. The Wolves take over.
Hopefully not a rest in peace.
Yeah. The Wolves bust into the town. I was shocked. Carol's looking out the window, making her casserole, looking at the woman she doesn't like, smoking in the yard, and it goes straight horror slasher movie.
It does.
And the dude with the machete just goes to town. And then all hell breaks loose.
Well, I do want to give myself credit real quick. I did say the horn was the Wolves.
You did, yeah?
I had no idea
that I didn't know that was
they were attacking Alexandria. But
well, and that's the other. It wasn't like a planned horn either. Like that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it just worked out.
It just
somehow.
happened.
Yeah, because there was nobody in the semi that hit.
Well, there was a guy, but then
he was a zombie. I thought.
Well, he turned into a zombie. I think he died when the semi hit.
Oh, I thought it was a zombie.
And then Morgan came in.
Maybe.
But yeah, no. So that crashes in. Horn goes off. It wasn't something planned to draw.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one thing. But it was definitely the Wolves. And then, and it's insane. They just come in with melee weapons, basically. And they start killing everybody that they can. And then Carol goes all Rambo. Disguises herself as a wolf.
I'm telling you, she
is ruthless. I love it.
She is, she's something else. She never ceases to amaze me. But yeah, she's very intelligent. She's very strategic. She's almost... It's funny because... So eventually she meets up with Morgan.
Yeah.
Who also is similar in a different way. Very strategic.
Kung Fu master right now.
Very smart with what he does. Always paying attention.
Doesn't want to, finish anybody off, though. He's Batman, basically. He doesn't want to kill anybody.
It's funny.
Like his rule. But then that's the other thing. This is another death that they don't really put to rest. They show that he goes to sort of finish somebody in the house.
Oh yeah.
He says, "I'm sorry," or whatever he says.
Right.
But they don't show it, and they usually show everything. So there's no telling if that person will come back to haunt or if he's really dead.
So right now, going back to Carol and Morgan, it's kind of funny because Morgan says something to Karen. She's killing people, but he says to her, "You don't like it."
Yeah.
And I think...
And he was right.
I think towards
You
the
can
end...
tell.
Right.
Yeah.
I think towards the end, and I can't remember what Carol says back to him, but I think at the end, Carol's considering that. Karen's really thinking about that. That's hard on her mind, and I think she's even smoking, and I think she might be crying.
Yeah, she cries.
At the end. And then...
I think
then you flip... on the flip side, you get Morgan, who possibly kills this guy, and he doesn't like the kill. So now it's almost like they're switching roles.
I don't know if they're completely switching, but they're definitely realizing the point of view of each other.
Right.
Because they're definitely like head to head towards the beginning on the approach that they're taking. Carol's just straight up killing people, not even thinking about it. He's like, "You don't need to do that."
Right.
And I think he sees that it's necessary sometimes, and I think she sees that maybe all the time.
Right.
Well, maybe it's still necessary, but it's not as easy for her to do. I don't know.
I think kind of in the middle of this whole craziness going on when she has Morgan chained and walking, and then you see the gang of wolves kind of walk by her saying, "Oh, good job with capturing a nice catch," or something like that. And then right after they pass, Morgan sees the priest getting attacked. And he's like, "Give me my stick." And she's like, I think she says no at first.
She says like, "Well,
we don't need to worry about him,"
or something like that.
And then he takes her, and she gives in and provides it to him and lets him go off and help the priest. I think the old Carol, the look at the flowers Carol, shoots the priest or whoever's attacking the priest, and then just keeps moving. I don't think she even bothers giving Morgan his stick back.
I mean, I don't know. I think she is who she is, but he made her realize, don't, this isn't the life that I love. This isn't what I want to do. But, I mean, it's a product of the world that they live in right now. And I think Morgan kind of starts to see that, too, is that he can't always just Batman it and not kill people. Like, at some point, it's going to come back to haunt you, too. I mean, it came back. This is a good transition, actually. He lets the wolves go, and those same wolves show up in the RV with Rick.
Are those the same ones?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was the main dude. Because he has a gun.
That's funny.
Because they didn't have any guns.
The one picked up the gun.
Yeah.
That's right. And
so if Morgan would have not gone Batman and killed them all there.
That's the second time. If Morgan would have killed the ones in the first place that he...
Thankfully, Rick is Rick.
Rick is Rick.
And I was really nervous. That looked like it was... He looked like he was in trouble there.
So before we skip to Rick, because we were talking about the wolves.
Yeah.
Enid.
Enid's a wolf. She is a wolf? That's when she was sitting back to back with Carl and she had that look on her face, I was like, there's something off with this chick. And then she says, she's got her JSS, which is the title of the one episode, Just Survive Somehow. And I was like, ooh, just survive somehow this attack from my group, the Wolves. I mean, I texted you that day, or that night, and I was like, do you think she's a wolf? And you're like, no. But you're like, I think she might have been captured by him. But I think I'm convinced that she might be one.
But, so if she
was
one...
The only thing that puts me off of that a little bit is she was on Talking Dead after that episode, and she said when her parents got killed, she was only on her own for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
But she could be wrong. I mean, she might have misinterpreted it. Or they might have all been
So if
wolves.
she is a wolf, I don't think they were wolves. I don't know. There's no way
they were in a car, but still.
They weren't wolves.
Just a week.
And they would have known how to handle walkers.
That's true.
But if she's a wolf, was it before she came to Alexandria?
Well, that's what she said. It was a week between when her parents died and when she got to Alexandria.
Right. But
that's...
Does she become a wolf in that time?
In a week?
Or does she become one after they attack Alexandria?
I mean, I'm just going to throw out what she said.
Or during her time?
I'm going to assume she was on her own longer than that.
Okay.
I mean, it seemed like it because she could handle herself, right? She just wanders off on her own all the time.
I'm not sure she could really handle herself.
I mean, I think that she...
I don't think so.
I mean, she survived on her own somehow. And it seemed like from the start, since she was more of a loner, that it was for a lengthier period of time than a week. That's just me.
I don't know. I mean, we're not given that much time. We're not. It's not... I don't think it was that.
I mean, there's no way of telling right now.
I think a week's accurate. But anyway.
Other than what she said.
So Enid, yeah. Moving on to another topic of discussion.
Do you think she's a wolf?
No.
No? Well, I do. So we'll see what happens there.
I still don't.
All right.
I mean, part of me, there's a chance, but I don't think so.
So then really the last thing to cover is Rick's little encounter.
Thing?
I mean...
There's a lot.
There's a lot, but we gotta cut it off at some point.
Go ahead.
So Rick has an encounter with the wolves as well. And he's basically waiting for Daryl and the others to meet up with him at this like rendezvous point. He's in the RV. He went off on his own to get it. And while he's tending to his cut hand, which may have walker blood in it,
they're
may
already
or may
infected.
not.
They're already infected.
Yeah, but the thing...
I don't think that...
Anyway, if you get bit, you slowly turn. Unless you chop it off. So, I don't know if it's going to act the same as a bite, but it may.
It may.
And they may have to chop it off.
They might.
So anyway, moving on from that. The wolves show up. They basically ambush him in the RV. 2 of them do. He gets in the tussle. Doesn't look like he's going to get out of it. He takes his gun out, though, and he ricks the heck out of him.
Yeah. He goes Scarface.
Yeah. So once those 2 are dead, he takes a little look in the side view mirror, and there's like 4 other ones coming up on the side. Takes out a machine gun, shoots them through the wall of the RV, and then he can't get the RV started to get out of there, and there are walkers coming, surrounding the RV, and that's basically all that we get of that situation. So what is going to happen with Rick?
See, the scary thing for me about that whole situation, first of all, the third episode, half of the episode, my heart was beating so hard. It was just ridiculous. And this is one of the moments, this is the very end of that episode, and this is one of the moments where it was beating really hard. This is the first time, at least in a long time, that I have seen kind of Rick startled.
Yeah.
Worried.
That was definitely... Yeah, he's definitely worried.
Sure what
I can't remember the last time he looked scared like that.
Me neither.
It was probably back, with something with his daughter.
But I was telling you, this ending reminded me of the first episode when he was trapped in the tank by himself, and then all of a sudden he hears that voice from Glenn.
Yeah. Hey, dumbass. Which we hear again. That's the one reason I think Glenn might be dead. It's because we hear hey, dumbass in the episode. And we see Herschel's watch.
Yeah.
But
it reminds me of the episode 1. So, yeah, what's happening with Rick, I don't know. I am kind of worried, freaked out.
What does he do? Does Jesus save him instead?
That is more Bible than helping Glenn to me. Because I can't remember who Jesus helps in the comic books.
I don't either. I just know he comes in kung fu kicking.
Right. I think it's like Michonne and Rick or something like that. But anyway, there is some kind of shelter, house, barn.
Yeah, there
close
is.
To Rick. All the
that
zombies are coming from the opposite side of the trailer that he's in.
I mean, number 1, he is close to the door to the RV. Number 2, I would get on the roof, but
if he hasn't closed that door by now, it's too late.
I mean, it was open.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It might be too late. I guess the only problem with getting up on top is if they know you're up there, they could push it over. But if they don't know you're up there, you can just chill probably until the whole thing passes. That's a heck of a lot of zombies, though.
True. Unless he has some flares as well.
That's true.
He has a way of setting something on fire. Who knows?
But he's in a predicament.
If he doesn't leave,
we have a lot of characters in predicaments.
Yeah, yes, we do. We do, and this also kind of reminds me of the season where we had everybody split up into different groups and areas and whatnot. But the crazy thing about this particular situation is everybody's being attacked by walkers. Mm-hmm. When they were separate, it was just, every once in a while here and there. It wasn't a herd of zombies like it is right now. Yeah. They are all being overwhelmed. Everyone.
Yeah, they weren't kidding before the season when they said there were going to be more zombies than ever. It looks like the wolf threat is it looks like it's kind of over for now, at least, because they killed a lot of them.
Apparently not enough, because they got to Rick.
Well, they're all dead now too,
as far as we know. But
anything else you can think of?
I'm still trying to counsel myself. I'm still.
Me too, because Annie died. I was so sad. Bring a hot girl on the show for one episode, and she's gone.
Sorry, this episode is so extremely long, but it was very impactful.
We had a lot to talk about.
It was very.
There was, I mean, there's no way around it, really.
I mean,
I'm sure you guys have plenty to say about Glenn yourself.
A lot of people have a lot of things to say, but I would be really, really intrigued about anything you guys have to say about this season, about this particular episode.
Definitely.
Our theories, your theories, other theories that you have heard. But yeah, please let us know what you think.
Comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, like our Facebook page.
It's always fun.
We'll have more videos out. This season's going to have plenty to talk about, and we're going to try to talk about some other stuff too, other than Walking Dead. But right now, that's our main priority.
Absolutely. Well, I think right now, probably most of the time. But obviously, they're going to have off seasons. But anyway, we said enough. Let us know what you have to say. And until next time, so thank you again, Jarrell, Keith, Brodate.
We'll see you.